Nigeria's listed investment banking services group, United Capital, has successfully midwifed the first ever local currency corporate bond issued in Sierra Leone. Reports say the Nigerian Financial Advisory Company provided support for the raising of $1.4 million on behalf of the Lapo Microfinance Bank in the West African country. Joining me to discuss this deal is Gbadebo Adenrele. He's the Managing Director of Investment Banking at United Capital. A great Friday evening to you, and congratulations for this deal.
Thank you very much, Wilson.
First time here in the new year. Well, it's even half year, but of course we can always roll it over, as the saying goes in the market. Tell me about this deal in Sierra Leone. Tell me more.
Yes, first corporate bond in Sierra Leone, and quite challenging when you don't have any reference. The capital markets there, or the debt market, is really government issuances, and we're able to get Lapo Sierra Leone in the books. We took some time, we got engaged, it took some time to walk through. Challenging in the sense that there were no regulations, so you had to get regulators comfortable with the fact that local corporates can issue securities and get investors to look at this opportunity, get international investors to look at this opportunity. And at United Capital, we have quite a bouquet of services, that we're able to put on the table for clients. Now, this client is the client that we've supported in raising capital in the Nigerian market, Lapo Microfinance. Now they have a similar business in Sierra Leone. And
which is separately licensed?
Yes, licensed by the Bank of Sierra Leone. Right, and we thought it was a good opportunity looking at them and looking at the market. Yeah, the challenge was there that the market had no existing local corporate, but they had confidence in us. Again, we have presence. Yes, we're headquartered in Nigeria, but we have presence in Ghana. We operate in Ghana as well, and we also operate in Cote d'Ivoire, covering the Roma region. And again, we advise corporates across Africa. And I'm just speaking to where we have physical presence. But again, we're able to move across borders, across Africa as well.
Very interesting how United Capital, how you were able to secure this deal in a foreign or overseas market. You're licensed in Nigeria. How did you secure that deal?
So we worked with partners on this. So we had a domestic partner there in Sierra Leone. We also had some international partners who also worked with us on this, because we needed to have development finance to support the activation of this. There are a number of parties, there are a number of entities that also work to ensure that they can develop capital markets in this less developed markets. Remember, over the last few years, we've always supported the West African capital market conferences that we've held, and we've always supported the Securities and Exchange Commission in hosting this. And remember, 2 years ago,
regional integrity, yes.
Exactly. And part of the focus of that conference, of that initiative, is to ensure that, the more developed markets, Nigeria, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, are able to come together with other countries in West Africa. In fact, there are some countries in North Africa that actually, also attend as observers to see how, you can mix ideas, you can bring ideas together and see how you can cross-fertilize ideas on this. Again, our presence in Cote d'Ivoire is also a testament to the fact that we look at a number of things across Africa. We moved first to Ghana, now we're in Cote d'Ivoire, catering to those 8 West African Francophone.
French-speaking West Africa.
Exactly,
yeah.
French-speaking West African countries.
Interesting when you look at what's the need for Lapo Microfinance Bank in Sierra Leone, a very small economy, small country, but again, $1.4 million is a big deal. It's a chunk of money on the table in Sierra Leone. So where would the money go to?
So it's really for the business, and if you know what they focus on is the bottom of the pyramid, right? The same thing they do in Nigeria, the same thing they do across is what they still continue to do, and they do a lot for women. And
women in particular in Sierra Leone.
So what you see is that you're able to get funding from entities who want to impact funding, essentially, right? But in this case, we got an anchor investor whose main force, that's the ALCB, Africa Local Currency Bond Fund, right? Part of their initiative is also to ensure they support African capital markets, and in this with local currency issuances,
great.
Right? So the structure was such that we had a number of incentives as well. So we got some form of enhancement to ensure local investors had some kind of enhancement, some partial guarantee, and then international investors, which was what Anchor Investor had, also had some incentive as well. And that helped us to ensure that, the structure was attractive enough to at least get this off the line. The expectation is with doing this, we can see a lot more corporates come to the market in that country and a number of other countries across. Whilst we work in all the developed markets, we also know that the less developed markets are also the future, right? We need that integration of capital markets across, and we're looking to ensure that we're a key party to support corporates.
They've got a whole lot of growth that are just embedded, like rough diamonds, as it were. Diamond in the rough, as the saying goes. But tell me a little bit about the financial markets architecture in Sierra Leone. Are they coming up with a securities exchange? Is there something there? Who's in charge of that? Is that the central bank? Is there an SEC? Tell me a little bit more about that.
So they have an exchange, but nothing going on much there. But really is a bank-led financial system, right? The Bank of Sierra Leone was actually the party we engaged, we got comfortable to be able to give us approvals for this.
Because they licensed the Lapo Microfinance Bank in Sierra Leone, yes.
And they needed to get comfortable with the fact that there are no existing frameworks for corporate bonds like this. But again, they do bonds for the national. So it's not too far, but it's now, how do you, again, with our experience, right? We've worked in Nigeria for long. We've worked in other clients in Africa as well. And that comfort was also important for the regulator there. It was important for the corporate itself. It was important for all the parties. So there was a lot of stakeholder engagement, stakeholder management, and the country will benefit from this in the medium to long term. Already we're seeing a lot of interest from a number of other institutionals looking to invest in those opportunities.
Interesting what you see in your footprints at United Capital across sub-Saharan Africa in terms of youth, women-led businesses and why it has to be mainstreamed and very quickly. I'm sure the EFDB is talking about that and working on that and doing some interventions. The African Bank is also doing some trade facility for women-led. So do you see more of this across the region and not just in Nigeria? Do you think we can galvanize a whole lot more economic transformation and wealth, financial inclusion by supporting women, based on what you're doing for Lapo Microfinance Bank in Nigeria and what you've just done, $1.4 million in Sierra Leone?
So I think, there's been there's thematic bond issuances. You see gender bonds, you see a number of those, right? And there's reason for all of that, right? This wasn't themed that way because the focus of this was just even get started, right? But you can almost say there's an element of impact in it. Clearly, from the entity that's been supported, there's an element of the fact that there are a lot of females that are being supported there, right? And this just ticks a number of those boxes. And for a lot of economies, you find that supporting women, through support to women, you support a whole lot, their whole family. And then, there's a wider reach. There's a wider reach from just supporting women and the businesses that they do and the SMEs that they run. I think that there's a lot of opportunities for that to spread across the region. And the DFIs you mentioned, yes, Afrexim, AFDB, and a number of other DFIs.
DFC as well.
Yeah, DFC as well. These are some of the opportunities that they look at. We also have another institutional DFI actually looking at some opportunities in that region as well. Because what this has done, it has opened an opportunity for these countries, these corporates, to get the attention of these other these funding sources to say, look, let's look at these areas again. But I must say that the key things for us, right, is we looked at this and we said, how do we work with parties that will help to reduce the risk, reduce the challenges that these ecosystems face, right?
On the continent.
By the time we do a second issuance in Sierra Leone, you probably need less enhancement, right?
I got it.
And as you move forward, you have less and less, and then that's the way markets develop. As we've done this now, the frameworks have been developed in Sierra Leone as well, and in surrounding economies as well. And some other economies around them, if you remember, Sierra Leone is one of those English-speaking
West
African countries. A lot of countries around them are French-speaking, right?
Exactly.
And the French region is a bit more developed, centered around Côte d'Ivoire, and they follow the development from Côte d'Ivoire, right? Yeah. But this is also helping to build that development in that country. A few other countries, last year as well, one of our corporates that we advised here, opened a branch in Gambia, and we're there to support them. And we could see, but it's also, another English-speaking country with a lot of Francophone around. So the opportunities there. And maybe you can say language also helped us to cross the barrier.
But again, one important point I don't want us to miss in this is the fact that you've got international partners, right, but you've got the local knowledge. And I just want you to talk to why do we need African financial institutions to do most of the legwork, everything on the ground in Africa, not necessarily relying on the folks from Brussels, from France, from Frankfurt to be the financial advisors when we could just do the job, when we have professionals like yourself on the continent.
That's what we just demonstrated. And we got it. We did it. We did it. Yes, we would say that in every transaction, even in developed markets, right, you face some challenges. We saw the challenge when we got in, but again, sometimes we are built in such a way that it's those challenges that stir up those innovations in our minds to say there must be a way out. We've seen it done in other climes. We've walked through difficult paths before, and we've made things possible, and we can make them possible. Right, and we think, this is what we did here. Remember, sometime around, there was a time when we were doing this transaction, there was a coup attempt in the country that also, edged some investors. They felt digitally. This is a part of the stories, the back stories to some of these transactions we did, right? And we had to cool off a bit, allow sentiments
to simmer.
Allow sentiments to calm, and we were able to finally close this. And we're grateful for the patience we had, the collaborations we had with everybody, and the success that's come from it.
Yeah, well, congratulations once again. And again, if you're moving to Eastern Corridor, the Southern Africa or North Africa, let me be the first to know.
Thank you. Thank you. We're already there, but thank you.
Let me be the first to know. We'll have this conversation again. Thank you so much. Have a great evening, Friday, and we enjoy your weekend.